Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Halas. I'm a music writer.
And I'm Jim Love, and I'm a keynote and motivational speaker.
And you guys don't know this, but it's a special Saturday night edition of the
It is.
Hustling Sideways podcast.
That's
Recording
good.
from just a couple days before you guys see this one.
Yeah. Every now and then, Alan and I are either on schedule or we're not. And this is one of those times where we're like, hey, we need to meet up before Monday. And here we are. But we're excited. It's actually, as we speak, like really storming and in Milwaukee. I saw like a lightning bolt that looked like a movie. I was like driving home, like, wow, okay, so this is wild. And it's what happens in mid-October. Things are
Yeah,
unpredictable.
yeah, absolutely. There is literally lightning bolts around. I'm supposed to go to an event right after this, so
Oh, well,
I mean,
good luck.
I'm gonna have fun driving through the Twister. It'll be great. So if you
Yeah,
hear
good
some
way to do
rumbling
it.
in the background, it is
That's
not
right.
Jim and I incredibly hungry for dinner. It is
It
just
also
it's
might
the
be that
world.
though, but yes, I could see why that would be, for now.
Yeah, generally it's also that too.
Yeah.
Um, so when we don't have a guest on like we've had the last few weeks, we talk about the things that side hustlers go through and things that we go through in our own side hustles. Today is a fitting one for us to do on a rush notice because today we are talking about how do you know when you are doing too much? When is it too much to handle for some things?
That's
Um,
right.
I very much am experiencing this. Jim, you've experienced this. Tell
Totally.
us a little bit about when you know when when it's too much. There's just too much on your plate.
Yeah, and it's like you got to pick up on red flags, every now and then when it's like take a step back. And I'm actually something I'm going through as we speak. I've been working with an organization doing some like extra speaking gigs, and my schedule has been just a monstrosity like the last like month or two. And so as I've like tried to schedule different opportunities to go speak, and then I'm worried about how my personal schedule will line up with that, and then I'm like, okay, I can't live like worried of each time when something pops up and I want to go do it. And then the last three things I've had to reschedule because they popped up and there's been something. So I think it's the universe telling me that it's time to like to just continue doing my own thing and not kind of work with a separate entity. And then I think a lot of times too when your passion or whatever it is you're doing gets in the way of your daily lifestyle, like when you can't see your family or like can't hang out with your kids, like that, those types of things. And I know that like everyone works different, where maybe they have like their days they pick out when they're with their kid, so something like that they kind of are able to accomplish what's being done. But when you kind of feel like you're in a jiffy all the time, like when you can't actually spend like present time, I think that's usually a call out to, what one of the things that you're doing is too much,
Yeah.
and maybe you can prioritize or pick something else. But it's definitely something I'm living out right now. Like as you speak, I'm having to prioritize a bit more and drop something and kind of get back to like where I feel like I'm in control of my schedule and it's manageable. I think we're always going to have like wild schedules. That's just a reality of like when you do something on the side of your job, like that's what's going to happen. But to a degree, like you still got to have fun and you still have to
Yeah.
enjoy it and be able to make it work. And when it gets to be too much, or when you feel like it's pulling you in different directions, that's usually a good sign, to opt out or just reprioritize what deserves your
Yeah.
time, what doesn't. And it's hard to get to that point, by the way. Like it takes a couple errors or a few like, oh, okay, like now I know it's too much to finally get there. But that's been a recent development for me and a really good lesson learned, to not overcommit and make sure it's
Yeah.
doable and you're not sort of in that space. I know, Alan, that you have a lot going on, so I'm very curious how you do this too.
I was gonna say I am just on the tail end of it too.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I was at that point. I'm just now finally getting out of it. It really is like you said, when you get to that point where you're just like you can't really be present because you're like you have something else popping up.
mm-hmm.
For me though, I really know when I hit my point where it's like too much on my plate entirely. When I stop caring like what the end result kind of looks like. So for
Oh
me,
sure.
it's like creating a lot of content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normally when I'm making stuff, I hit a point or I've hit points before where like I'm just like I just need to turn something out today. For
Mm-hmm.
like for my website where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I just need to make sure something's up there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really care what, just something. That has for sure happened to me before in the past where I've been like, whatever the blog post looks like today. The main part is the music. They don't care about my writing, whatever, right?
Hmm.
Which is still kind of true. But like I have definitely had that point where I've just been like, all right, whatever, just turn something out just to say that I have something, check the box, keep it going. Um, I am the same way with shows though. Like I have not booked shows in a while. I just did a block party in September.
Hmm.
But I was doing like this series of shows, and I'm just now finally trying to start get back into that.
Hmm.
I was doing a series of shows where like I was booking them late, or like the announcement would come out on like a really short notice. It would be like 2 weeks before the show, and I'd be like, yeah, this is happening. And then I would just try to get through it and like move
Yeah.
on to the next one.
Yeah.
That's when I knew like, okay, something needs to change here because like I'm not caring about what the end product is. And it was showing too, like there were not a
Hmm.
lot of people coming to their shows because they probably only knew about it 2 weeks in advance at most,
Yeah.
So
Right. That's a good
that's
point.
totally, yeah, when I've hit the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something similar when, if I'm going somewhere like a conference or a school and I don't feel like I've had time to sit down and think about it, I just show up and do it. Like that's when it gets a little different too. Like I didn't have time to think. Like I just got there, did it, and left. And it should be a little bit more intentional, more thought behind it, more like reflecting on the day. And that's something I experienced this week. When I just kind of showed up and did it, and it went well. But that's there could have been more, and I think
Mhm.
it's important to take it. So to your point, it's kind of like when the quality, I don't say goes down, but it's compromised. Perhaps
Yeah,
is
yeah,
when
yeah, absolutely.
that could be it because it could still be good, but if you don't feel like you've been able to put the time into something you're passionate about, it's time to rethink a few things.
Yeah, totally.
You know.
So we want to know, when you guys hit that point, what
Mm-hmm.
do you go through? Because we care about the quality of this show, right? And we
Me
want to know
too.
what you're feeling about it too. So please let us know, what do you do, or how do you know when you've hit that point where you just have entirely too much going on? I have also many times wanted to just tweet out there are entirely too many things happening and just send that, and
There's just
just
too
that.
much.
That is my life
That's
status
the tweet.
update. Yeah. So let us know what is your kind of red flag that when you know you've hit too many points, there are
Mm-hmm.
too many things happening. Because we need the advice too. We always do. So in the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening. We are the Hustling Sideways podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We are also on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we are getting better at Instagram and TikTok soon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hint,
We're
hint,
there.
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're there, but we're there. So follow us on all those platforms. We will be back next week with another episode of the Hustling Sideways podcast. And Jim,
Keep on hustling.
see you next week.
Peace.